Okay, so this is an extension of the 3 laws of indices that we learned in our previous lesson, and we're going to use, or rather we're going to apply the 3 laws of indices to simplify these expressions over here. Yes, okay, so let's go with our first expression over here. Yes, okay, so if we look at our first expression over here, looking at the top part, yes, you can see that we have the same bases which are being multiplied, and we're going to use the product law. Yes, so we'll start first by using the product law for first part of our expression over here. And we know that since the bases are the same and they're being multiplied according to the product law, we simply have to add their indices. Yes, okay, so let's deal with the first part. Yes, the top part over there. So that then will be x 8 plus 3. Yes, x, yes, raised to 8 plus 3, because we are adding the what? The indices. Yes, that gives us what? X 8 plus 3 is 11. Yes, okay, now remember it's being divided. Yes, x to the power 5. Yes, so x to the power 5. Yes, so there's division happening here with the same base. So we're going to use the what? The quotient law. Yes, division. Yes, dividing an expression with the same base. What do we have to do? We just have to add their what? We just have to subtract. Yeah, we have to subtract their indices. Yes, so x, yes, 11 minus 5. Therefore, our x is what? 11. Yes, 11 minus 5 is 6. Yes, okay. So we have simplified our first expression over here. Yeah, let's deal with our second expression. Okay, let's deal with our second expression. Yeah, okay, so if we look at our top part over here, yes, we have an indices expression over here. That is what? That is raised to another index. And we know that we can use the power of power law. Yes, so if an indices expression, yes, is raised to another index, we have to multiply their what? Their indices, right? Okay, so let's deal with the top part. So that's a, yes, sorry, it's my a there. Let me just write that properly. Yes, a, yeah, 3 multiplied by 4. Yes, and 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. So we shall have a raised to the power 12. Remember, then let's not forget dividing. Yes, 5a to the power 5. Yes, okay, so we can tell here that we can use the quotient law. Yes, dividing same base. Yes, so what do we have to do? We keep the same base and subtract their indices, right? Okay, so that will be a 12 minus 5. And what does that leave us? That leaves us with a 12 minus 5 is 7. Yes, so we have simplified our second expression. Now let's look at our last expression. Yes, let's look at our last expression. Okay, okay, so let's look at our top part over here. We can see that this expression has a lot going on. Yes, okay, so if we look at our first term over here, yes, we can tell that we're going to use what? We're going to use our power of power law. Yes, okay, so because we have an indices expression over here that is being raised by what? By another index there. So we just have to multiply their what? Their indices. Yes, and 2 multiplied by 5 is what? Is 10, right? So that will be x raised to the power 10. Yes, 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. Yes, multiplied by x to the power 3, dividing it by x to the power 4, right? Okay, so let's look at our top part over here. Same bases are being multiplied. That's product law. Yes, we're going to use product law. Yes, and with product law, what do we have to do? We keep the same base and add their what? Their indices, right? So x, yes, power 10 plus 3, yes, what does that give me? 10 plus 3 is 13, yes. Let's not forget the bottom part. So our top part will be x to the power 13 divided by x to the power 4. We know that we have what? Same bases, which are what? Which are being divided. So we're going to use what? We're going to use quotient law, yes? And if we have the same bases that are dividing, we know that all what we have to do is subtract what? Their indices, right? Okay, so that then will be x, yes, 13 minus 4 equal to, yes, 13 minus 4 is what? Is 9. Yeah, okay, so there we go. We have simplified our 3 expressions over here using the first 3 laws of indices, which is the product law, quotient law, and power of power law. Thank you so much.